From behind a spiral of floating tomes emerged Illyrio, Thrirasa of the luminous arc. Her presence a regal radiance softened by curiosity. She was statuesque, with hair like cascades of star-lit silver and eyes that shimmered in a hue just beyond mortal comprehension. Her long, flowing garments whispered in a language lost to time, draping her as a goddess incognito, if such a thing were possible in Blovinius's eccentric abode. She arched a brow. Is that a real lesson or one of your cunning distractions? Blovinius grinned. Both, always both. We must blur the line between knowledge and folly if we are to grasp the true nature of existence. Now, put on your prancing boots and let's prance. Illyrio sighed with a fond exasperation. The sort reserved for those whose antics are inevitable. She donned a pair of polished, tall boots that shimmered faintly with runes, an obligatory measure for the prancing. She glanced around. And what precisely am I to prance upon? The teacup vanished from Blovinius's hand, replaced by a flourish of fingers. At once, the parlor floor folded back like a quilt, revealing a checkerboard maze of floating tiles, each one etched with luminous symbols. A faint, jaunty tune began to hum from nowhere in particular. The Dance of Dynamic Dilemmas, Blovinius announced. A test of wit, wisdom, and a bit of whimsy. You'll hop from tile to tile, each one posing a conundrum. Step wrongly, and Illyrio narrowed her eyes. And Blovinius's grin widened. Oh, you'll find out. Go on, make the first step. Illyrio, cautious, yet curious, placed her foot upon a tile marked with a spiraling symbol. The room blinked, and she found herself standing upon a floating disk suspended over a churning sea of pastel vapor. A riddle intoned from nowhere, soft and echoing. You seek an answer from an empty well. What brings forth wisdom where silence dwells? Illyrio frowned, thinking back to Blovinius's lessons, always tangled with absurdity. Reflection, she ventured. The disk glowed warmly, and she stepped forward as the scene returned to the parlor. Blovinius clapped. Marvelous! You're starting to think like a loon. Truly promising. Before Illyrio could reply, a loud crash interrupted them, pots and pans clanging violently. A groan of exasperation followed. Belisandra Storm stood fuming in the kitchen entryway, the fierce angles of her face framed by raven black hair. She wore a shirt that had once been white, but now bore the stains of a failed culinary experiment. The kitchen behind her was a battlefield of broken eggs, scorched herbs, and an unsettling amount of sentient dough creeping along the countertops. I was trying to make breakfast, Belisandra growled, her eyes flashing storm cloud gray. Blovinius clapped his hand to his chest. Ah! A heroic endeavor. A task fit for champions. Belisandra leveled a glare at him. You put a living yeast culture in the pantry again. It needed somewhere warm, Blovinius protested. Ilariel stifled a laugh, watching Velisandra bristle. The tension was a familiar, amusing constant. Blovinius's whimsical chaos at odds with Velisandra's stubborn intensity. Blovinius leaned in, whispering conspiratorially to Ilariel. "The next lesson, my dear. Persuade a storm not to rage." Ilariel sighed. "You do enjoy making my life difficult." Blovinius winked. "A master's duty." With a flick of his wrist, the dance of dynamic dilemmas dissolved, and Ilariel strode toward Velisandra, the air charged with mischief, magic, and the ever-present risk of explosive personalities. The day was young, the challenges daunting, and Uncle Blovinius positively delighted. The hyperverse, after all, was a place of wild possibility, and no one embodied that better than the madcap sage himself. Velisandra's storm scowled, a storm incarnate. The sentient dough on the kitchen counter continued its ambitious crawl, gurgling smugly as it attempted to envelop a spoon. Ilariel's lips twitched with amusement. "You've really done it this time, Uncle," she remarked, brushing a strand of silver hair from her face. "Oh, I assure you, it's an excellent vintage of dough," Blovinius countered. "I named her Samantha," straightening his vest with a flick of his wrist. "Ages beautifully, though it does not gain opinions over time." Velisandra crossed her arms, eyes narrowed. "Its opinions are very loud." With a thoughtful hum, Ilariel strode forward. The dough lurched threateningly, puffing up with indignant bubbles. A sticky tendril reached out, flopping in a gesture that could almost be called a challenge. "Interesting," Ilariel mused. "It's developed a territorial streak." Blovinius preened. "A side effect of prolonged reflection. It's become quite philosophical. Its arguments on the necessity of gluten are positively groundbreaking." Velisandra's patience frayed visibly. "If it quotes Plato, I'm burning it." Ilariel glanced back. "Let's not get carried away." She crouched before the dough and gave it a serene smile. "My quarrelsome friend," she intoned, "you are worthy of existence, but so are the utensils you threaten. Would you return to your bowl?" The dough quivered, suspicious. Blovinius leaned closer to Velisandra, eyes glimmering with mischief. "You see, the secret is to speak gently, but decisively. Persuade the dough to recognize its place in the grand scheme of things." Marvelous lesson in diplomacy, don't you think? Velisandra shot him a glare. "It's dough." "An excellent observation, but do not be deceived. Dough has convictions." The dough wobbled. Ilariel held its gaze, or at least its mass. "Come now, I promise warmth, flour, and the chance to rise grandly." A moment's hesitation. Then the door flopped sulkily back to its bowl. Ilariel gave a satisfied nod and wiped her hands. There, properly motivated. Velisandra exhaled sharply. "If it gets out again, I'm feeding it to the void." Blovinius beamed. "Velisandra, your determination is most admirable. Perhaps the next lesson shall involve reasoning with elements of cosmic chaos." They're such temperamental fellows, but oh, the insights you'll gain. Fantastic. Blovinius threw an arm around Illyrio. Now, my luminous ward, we must away. Today's tutelage awaits. Theories to upend, paradoxes to embrace, and possibly a duel with metaphysical dilemma. Illyrio frowned. The last duel nearly singed my hair.